Hello guys, so Mark Vance here and this is my good friend Ian Jones.
Hi there.
And we're going to talk you through at least a couple of turns, we'll see how it goes time wise, but we'll play a game, 500 point game. Good place to start is talking about our forces. So me being the Englishman and Ian here being the Welshman, we've got two very typical forces here. So I've got my commander, this is a 500 point force. My commander here is Gilbert de Clare. That's the man in the yellow with his red chevrons. He's one of the Marcher Lords, and the Marcher Lords have been given sort of carte blanche for many years to come into Wales and steal Welsh land and make it English. And he is the Earl of Hertford and the Earl of Gloucester, I think. So that's my command group. He's a lord. I haven't bought him as a baron because at 500 points that would be too expensive. So I've got a regular mounted lord with 3 regular knights. I've put them on barded war horses, which makes them have 2 attacks each. Very useful. And it also means they have 2 wounds. So you have to do 2 wounds to remove 1 guy. That makes them tanks. They really are tanks. To buff that command group up, I've paid for a banner. At Lord, it's just a pennant rather than a banner. That increases his command range from 6 inches to 9 inches. I've got a priest. Any unit within command range, so 9 inches of him. Because I've got the priest, you can actually discount any morale dice on them. I'll come to that later. So that's my command group, very expensive. That's not far off half the points of my army. The next unit I've got is some monks. Now, within the rules you have to have at least 10% of your forces at the green experience level. So I've just gone for some very cheap green troops, monks. Monks are quite good in that they can operate almost independently when it comes to morale, because they've got an ability that I think it's called faith, and it allows them to discount any morale dice on them. So that's 7 of those guys, good for objective grabs. Then my next unit is this unit of sergeants. I've got 5 of them. I've bought them at the veteran experience level. These are tough cookies. I've put them in mail, given them shields. Their weapon, they come with falchions. Now falchions are really good when you're fighting against any troops that are in padded armour or no armour. It gives them a bonus to attack. And then to finish off, my 4th unit. Where would a medieval army be without the longbow? In Wales, this is called the Welsh longbow. In England, it's called the English longbow. Same weapon. I've got these at regular level. I've bought padded armour for them. And they come with an ability at regular level called Every Bloody Sunday. During the medieval period, any lad over the age of 8 in the counties of England and Wales, by law, after Henry II's time, had to own a bow, had to practice every Sunday. And these guys are simulating these. The Every Bloody Sunday ability allows you to shoot up to 20, which is normal, but it allows you to move 3 inches and shoot up to 20. Normally, missile troops, crossbow and bow, can move 3 and shoot up to 10 inches. But with Every Bloody Sunday, they can shoot up to 20. So these guys are my long range hitters. Then I've got a couple of tank units. And to finish off, my objective grabbing monks. So that's my army. I've bought 1 ability, which I've plonked on my commander, and that's something called Formidable. Formidable means that you discount the first casualty in that unit. And when you're taking 2 wounds to remove a single guy, Formidable makes mounted knights really, really unstoppable. So that's my army coming into Wales to take out Mr. Jones.
Okay, so my army consists of Robert Fitzhamon. This entire list is based on a legendary formation called the 12 Knights of Glamorgan. And rumour and legend has it that this guy led his gang of 12 knights, and each was allocated a village within the area of Glamorgan on the successful kicking out of the Welsh. So we've got in that, although they're not modelled on the models, a bannerman, an instrument, and a priest. So a full command there. These guys are at regular level, and they benefit from chivalry and live by the sword, and we'll see those abilities coming in later. So, as Mark has already said, we need to have some guys at the green level. So here, painted in Gloucester colours, are my crossbowmen. They're green. They are 11 points each, so this is a 500 point list. They're coming in at 55 points, ticks the 10% nicely. And then moving on, we have my veteran unit, 5 veteran bowmen. Mark's talked about their every bloody Sunday rule, which I get as well. They are veterans. We've then got down here the foot sergeants, 5 of them again. They're armed with bill and they're padded. They have the ability martial respect. Quite an expensive unit, coming in at, I think, 95 points. These are great against horse, and the critical wounds on those deal 2 wounds. So
my knights do not want to charge into
no,
those.
they do not want to charge into those. And finally, to round out, we have a squad of 4 mounted knights, and these guys equipped as the foot knights are with sword and shield. These are barded horses. They're not war horses like Mark's, so they're not as tough. And again, they benefit from the chivalry and live by the sword special.
Now let's see if I recorded it.
Right guys, so we've set up the table. There's a nice little guide to setting up the table. In Baron's War, you really want enough terrain on the board. Missile troops are quite effective. On an open table, crossbowmen and bowmen will just destroy the enemy before they get anywhere near you. So there is a recommendation that you've got, in every foot square, you've got at least one good chunk of terrain. And we've set the board up to sort of make sure that that complies. Once you've set the board, there's 2 things you need to decide. One is the deployment. Now, for purposes of one, showing you the fact that you don't have to just play from across the table, long edge to long edge, which would be that deployment zone. That's your classic that you see in most war games. There is another 11. We're going to go for this one. We're trying to show the game, so we're going to get right in. So we're going to go for number 8. I'm going to be the blue side, Ian's going to be the red side. We can deploy. We're playing from the short edge up to the middle, and the road is pretty much at the middle. So we're going to play deployment 8, and then the next thing you need to decide is the scenario. So we're just going to go for this first one, behind enemy lines. And in this scenario, you must advance into the enemy's territory and capture their heartlands, but beware, the enemy means to do the same to you. This is an objective game. We've got 1 objective each, which we dice off, place in your deployment zone, and they've got to be more than 6 inches away from the edge of the table. And you win if you secure victory over both objectives at the end of any round. So this might go for 1 round, or it might go for 5. We'll see. Ha! Would you believe it?
Yeah.
So Ian can make me place an objective first, see where I'm going, so he can react, or he can take the lead and go.
No, you do it first, please.
Right, so I have to place this on the table more than 6 inches from a table edge. I could place it in terrain, woods, so anything on these templates we're counting as woods. Mounted troops can't go into them, so I could be dead sneaky and place it in the middle of this wood, and you know that his infantry could go. But me and Ian, we've got a long history of just fighting, just getting in. So let's go here. That's my objective.
And mine.
Excellent. So control of the objectives in this game is anything within 3 inches of the objective. It's the amount of guys you've got basically within that 3 inches. So the one man is one man. It doesn't matter whether he's a sergeant or whether he's a peasant levy. If you've got more guys within 3 inches of the objective, it's yours. So me and Ian are now rolling for deployment. You don't normally just put your troops on the board. That's a 10. What happens is you have a dice off and then you alternate placing on troops. And again, the winner can choose whether to go first or second. And you can place them anywhere in your deployment zone, which is up to half. I'm assuming that the road is pretty much the centre of the road is the centre of the table. So I won. I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to put a unit on, and the first unit I'm placing on will be my monks. Now, one of the rules does say you cannot set up within 3 inches of an objective, so I can't plonk them straight on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place them back here in this wood. They're praying in the forest. Now your units have to be in coherency, and coherency for infantry troops is they all have to be within 2 inches of the centre guy. Effectively, that's a 5-inch bubble, and I'm in that 5-inch bubble. So there we go. That's my first unit.
Cool. My first unit is going to be my green crossbowmen.
Hiding.
I'm hoping they're going to benefit from cover mark, not hiding, by hiding behind this fencing. Again, they need to be in coherency, slightly looser than Mark's coherency, but still legal.
Yeah, the thing with coherency is you can have big units, but then big units do get quite cumbersome because you have to have them in that coherency bubble. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have my archers just sitting over here. I can see those pesky crossbowmen, but I do have a wall in the way of me which will hinder his shot. So there's my archers waiting to go.
Next up, my veteran bowmen. I like to call them the castle bowmen. They're based in the castle in Cardiff, and they're sporting Cardiff Blues colours. Again, they're going to be hiding behind the wall. Sorry, taking cover behind the wall. And they're veterans.
Ooh. Veterans means that they'll be hitting on quite a low number. Can you remember what that is offhand, or is that?
I can tell you. So veteran bowmen are hitting on 5s.
5s? That's shocking.
Shockingly good or shockingly bad?
It's just shocking. Right, so my sergeants, they're in mail. Mail's going to make them pretty slow. I don't like the look of those archers, so I'm going to stay out of the way. I'm going to stay behind here where he can't see me. There we go. 5 sergeants. With movement, one of the easy things to remember is that infantry move 6. If they're wearing padded armour or leather, that takes them down to a 5, and if they're wearing mail, it takes it down to a 4.
So next up, I'm going to place my mounted knights. They're not as tough as Mark's knights, but I'm hoping they're going to do their job. So they're going to deploy there.
Right, my knights. Now Ian's got 1 unit left to put on, 2 units left to put on. Ooh. And one of those is Billman, and Billman against war horses is pretty effective. So he's probably going to counter me. I don't like riding straight into veteran bowmen, but I do quite like the idea of my knights proving they're better than his. So I think I'm going to put my guys over here. Now, one of the things I desperately need to remember is that mounted knights on war horses, when they charge, they're subject to something called overcharge, which means they come out of the back of the unit they've attacked if they win, and they move 1 inch for every casualty they've caused plus a die 6 in a straight line straight out of the back of the unit they've hit. If that takes you off the table, you lose the unit. If it takes you into a side of a building, you lose another one of you guys. And seeing as this game is very much, if you lose your commander, that's game over. We've only got 1 commander each. There's no fallback. So if I lose my boss by him charging off the table, then that's game over. So I need to be very careful and judge my charges. So that's my last unit on.
The foot sergeants, armed with bills, are going to come there. Just going to check that I'm outside of that 3-inch range, and I'm not quite, so we'll do that.
They're your goalkeepers, aren't they?
They're my goalkeepers, Mark. Okay, and it reverts back to me because Mark has got no more to put down. So on comes the man himself, Robert Fitzhammon, the legendary conqueror of Glamorgan, with his command group. As I said, although they're not modelled, there's a musician and a banner in there, as well as the priest.
I call him a jackanape and a cur, and he's going down.
I cock a snoot to you, sir.
Turn 1, here we go. So we dice for initiative. Ooh, a 9. A 7. So it's up to Ian.
I'm going to force you to go first.
Right, there we go. Now, one of the things you can do is you can pass. But you can only pass so many times. Passing is a way of basically just handing the initiative back, waiting for your opponent to commit and do something. You can pass up to 3 turns in each turn. And also, if there's 3 passes consecutively, so if I passed, Ian passed, it comes back to me and I pass, that's turnover. You need to remember that. But I'm not going to pass, I'm going to go and do something. So my archers, it's a pre-measured game, you can always measure. And it goes nearest to nearest. I'm within 13. No, I'm not, I'm just in 14, which means I can't move and shoot. Yes, I can. I've got every Sunday, which means I can go up to 20. So my threat therefore is 23 inches because I can move 3 and shoot up to 20, so I could come right to there. So 3 inches takes me here, and I'm hoping that my regular archers will be able to win a nice shoot off against his pesky green crossbow. Now, let's do some combat. We have, the first thing you do in a combat is you work out how many dice you've got. You get 1 dice for each guy. I've got 7 guys. So that's 2, 4, 6, 7. I would get an extra dice if my commander was in range, but he's miles away. Right, so I've got 7 guys shooting, but they're shooting over this wall. This wall will do what's called hinder my shot. Hindering, if I can draw a line of sight from any one of my guys to one of his without it passing through pieces of terrain, that's an unhindered shot. I'm not able to do that. I'm shooting over this wall, none of my guys have got a clear shot, so it's got to go over the wall. Because I'm hindered, for every piece that's hindering it, I take a dice out. So rather than 7 dice shooting, I'm shooting with 6. Now you might spot that he is behind another wall. This one, because he's touching it, it's not going to hinder my shot, it will just add to his defence value. It's as if he's done a defence order on them already. It's going to improve their armour by 2. But I reckon I've still got a pretty good chance. So regular archers at long range, anything over 10, I need 7s. So here goes. 1s are always a miss, 10s potentially a critical, but not at long range if you go to the FAQ. Right, so as per the rule book, that would be what's called a critical, but we're playing from the nice tweaked FAQ rules which are available online. So I need 7s. So I've hit with 3. So Ian now needs to defend against those.
3 dice. He's a baron. He's got a banner.
So he's within 12.
Yeah.
That gives him an extra dice, so you've got 4 dice.
So I'm saving on, sadly, 7s.
But down to 5s because you're
Down
behind
to
that
5s. Thank you very much. So a 2, a 3, and a 3.
Ian's made 4 rolls because he's got an extra dice. A good practice is to get into putting dice against dice until you're used to it, right? So always put the highest to them. So that is a pass. He's passed 1 because he needed, what do you need? 5s because of there. So that's a pass. That's a fail, but that's the extra dice. So he's just lost 2, but that's still pretty pokey. Losing 2 guys, you put a dice 6 behind to show how many casualties you've lost. Each casualty is a 1 on your morale dice, and he gets pushed back 1 inch plus every casualty. So he's now forced back 3 inches directly away from where he's been shot at. Not only has he been forced back, but he's also taken over 25% casualties. Because of that, he now needs what's called a break test, which is a morale test. This is where your commanders come in, if he could see them, but there is no line of sight because this building is in the way. If the building wasn't in the way, then he would be using his commander's morale, and any pip on his morale dice would be discounted because of him having a priest. But because of the situation, and he's can't see his leader and the banner and everything, he's now going to have to do it on his own. And being green, hopefully they're going to run away like the dogs they are.
So my guys have got a morale of 6 plus 2 is 8. 9.
No.
9.
They love it.
Read it and weep.
They've been drinking, haven't they?
Yeah.
Oh, the one thing I did forget at the start of this turn, because they were using their own action, they needed a red token, which is placed on them. That's them moving forward and attacking.
So it's my turn. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to order some veteran bowmen on your knights there, just for fun.
Yeah, it's long range, but they've got every Sunday.
It is.
They're well within their 20-inch range.
Indeed.
So we would look for line of sight. Well, every single one of them has got to at least cross here.
Yeah, no worries.
This bit of wall isn't helping me really. So that would be your 5 dice.
Yeah.
Plus a guy.
Yeah.
But then losing one, you're back to 5.
Yeah, cool. Okay. So, veteran archers, or veteran bowmen, they have a shot of 5.
5s? That's
5s.
disgusting.
So I'm looking for 5s on these.
I might need to do a reaction. You see, one of the things I can do is I could decide to do something with my guys,
Yeah.
and I'm going to take that option, right? Their command is 2. That means that each turn they can do something for themselves as well as give an order to somebody else. So for themselves, this round I'm going to use this. I'm going to spend one of their actions, and I'm going to do what's called defend, which improves my armour. So go for it, Mr. James.
So 5s.
That looks like 4 to me.
It certainly does.
Right, so my armour. Let's have a look in the big book. I need 4s for wearing mail.
And your defensive.
Yeah, he's hit me 4 times. So I get a dice for each hit. Now, because I'm a commander, I can't actually boost my own attack dice by putting in another dice. You can only do that to other units. So I'm not getting the extra dice. But I am defending. So any of the saves I make now need to be 2 better than a 4. Because of that defensive action, which means I only need 2s. I would say that's cocked. There we go. Now I did fail 1. Because it's a 1, I can't re-roll it with a shield save. So that's going to be a fail. But that doesn't make any difference because my war horses give me that extra wound. So you need to kill 2 for me to take 1 casualty. So that's ignored. So I don't take a casualty, and I ignore you. So now your archers have shot. It means my sergeants feel a little bit safer in coming forwards. So what's going to happen is they're going to move. With movement, I've got 2 options. I can just move there 4 inches, or I could run them. With a run, you have to go in a straight line. You have to see where you're going, and you can't go round things. It just has to be straight. And it would make them weary. Don't want to do that. So what they're going to do is they're just going to hug the side of this building a little. And these guys are going to move to here. Like this. So they're still in their coherency. There we go. So that is just a green one for movement. Back to you, Mr. Jones.
Cool. Okay, so one of the differences between Mark's force and mine is I've actually picked a Baron. Horrendously expensive, but it does give 3 extra actions per, or 3 actions per turn. I'm going to spend one of those actions to reactivate my crossbow, my bowman there. They will become what we call fatigued. However, I think it's worth it, and I'm going to shoot Mark's sergeants this time.
You do need to make an order test. If you're given an order, the unit that you give the order to has to make a morale dice roll, and it has to be on their own morale.
Sure.
But they're veterans, they're probably going to make it. It's going to be really low.
3?
Yep. So as long as he gets a 3 up.
3 plus 1 for wary, but that's 4, so they still doing it.
Yeah.
Tidy. So, I am going to activate that unit. I have 5 men. I'm going to have 5 dice. I do, however, have an extra one for this fella being in range.
But you are
That's
losing
6,
another one.
but I'm losing one because Mark's skulking behind a wall.
Now you're at short range now,
I am at short range.
so you're probably even better to hit.
Yeah.
What you need?
Well, normally 5s. I'm guessing it's 4s.
But you're weary.
So it goes back up to 5s.
Weary makes it 5.
Read it and weep.
Oh, and he has the 10. Now because he's in short range, that is a critical. That's a bit scary. So I get my 5 dice. Plus 1 for the fact that my boss, is pretty sure, is within 9 inches. Yeah, easily. So they don't want to look foolish in front of the boss. So that's 5 plus another one, 6. But I have to get a 10 to discount that critical. And these are all hits, aren't they?
Yeah.
Whoa, okay. So I need 6s, but at least one of them needs to be that horrible 10. Here we go. No 10. So you have to put the highest dice against the 10. And that becomes a fail. Then the others, let's have a look. I need 6s. So that's 1, that's 2, that's a fumbly 1. But these 2 here, they might be fails, but I can use my shield roll against them. They've got medium shields, which gives me a save of 8. So this is an extra save on top of your armour. I can't use it against the 10, and any 1s I roll mean I can't re-roll the shield on those. So it means I've just got these 2. No. So it means, from the look of it, I've lost 4 guys.
Yeah.
5, yeah.
4 guys.
Yeah, 4 guys. That has decimated me. So you always take nearest to nearest with casualties. So that's these 4 all gone. it means that lone guy gets pushed back an inch plus 4, takes him 5 inches away. That's going to push him right back here. And he needs a test. Put a little 4 on the back of him, like this. And he needs a morale. Now, being a veteran sergeant, all on his lonesome, he's going to have quite a high morale. And veteran sergeants, they only need a 3. Now normally that would be 3 plus the 4 of the morale dice, that would be 7. But he's close enough to my boss to be able to use the boss's morale, which is still only a 3. But the important thing is this priest. The priest allows you to discount any of the morale dice. So it means he's just rolling 1 dice and he needs a 3. Which he gets. That was important, an important roll, because he wouldn't have been just broken, he would have been shocked at that amount. So he's made it, but he's all on his own. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move my monks out of the forest. They finished praying and now they're ready to go. Now, when you're in area terrain, and infantry can go in woods, it depends on how heavily armoured they are. These aren't wearing any armour, so it means they just get reduced by 25%. Well, their movement is 6, so losing a quarter of 6 makes it 4.5 inches. They are able to move 4.5 inches out of the woods. I think they're probably praying to St Cuthbert as they go. So out of the woods. And that's their movement. Done.
Cool. So my next movement is I'm going to activate these billmen, and they are going to camp on the objective. Oops. They've moved, so they get a green token. Over to you, buddy.
Right, now this defensive action on my mounted knights, that stays in effect for the entire turn unless they move. I think, having seen those sergeants get destroyed in front of them, I think it's about time they moved. So I'm going to make the decision of coming this way. Now on war horses in mail, their movement is 6, so they're going to come this way. You always need to make sure that there's at least an inch gap between units. So because I moved, that disappears. And it's their second action, so it will make them weary. And they've moved, which is a green one. Over to you, Mr. Jones.
Thank you, thank you. So, these guys are going to activate into their own. They have a 7-inch move because they're not barded. They are barded, they're not warhorse like Marks. There we go. They've moved, they get a green token.
Now I'm out of actions. Everything of mine is done. So
that's cool.
That's back to you then.
So it's over to me. Okay, these guys. They are going to move their 3 inches back to towards the wall, towards the hedge. The fence, sorry.
That's a second action for them?
No.
No, they've not done anything.
They've not done anything. They took the shooting from you and they fell back. So they moved 3 inches.
Means they
Can't
shoot. They could shoot up to 10.
Yeah, but I think I'm just out.
Yeah, you're just out. So,
Okay.
Are they against the wall? Have they?
No.
Not quite.
Not quite.
Right. I've still got all my actions done. So.
Okay, so this unit here, the Robert Fitzhammond, he is going to spend one of his actions. He is going to move his 4 inches that way. He still has one action, and as I think he's got to spend 2 actions on himself.
No, he only has to spend one action.
He only has to spend one on himself. Well, in that case, I think we're just going to move his other 4 inches to there.
Doesn't need to make a roll to order himself, but it does make him weary.
Black counter on him for weary, green counter on him for moved. That's the end of this round.
Excellent.
Okay.
So what happens at turn end in the sort of clear up housekeeping phase is that units that have just got normal orders on them and no morale dice, you just remove their order tokens. So for me, that's these 2 units. It's slightly different for units that have got either morale effects or weary effects on, or pip on their morale dice. So if you have a weary and a pip dice, so if they had got, say, a 1 on them, I would need a morale roll to remove that. I haven't, so then you take the wearies off. Any units that have got numbers on their morale dice, you can knock them down 1, as long as they're not under any sort of morale effect. So that's us done. We're now on to turn 2. Now, one of the things, if you remember right, my lord, he has 2 commands. Ian's got 3 on his. One thing you can do, doesn't happen very often, but sometimes it's worth thinking about. If you're desperate to keep the initiative, you can actually spend one of your commands to give you an extra dice when it comes to rolling for initiative. So I could spend 1 for this turn to have 2 dice, but to be honest, it'd be nice to have the initiative, but I don't think it's critical. And I think having the 2 commands is probably more useful. There we go, 6. Excellent. So it goes to me. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to press my advantage upon this flank with the fine English longbowman. Because he's not against the wall, one rule that's in it for shooting over obstacles says that you can only shoot over 1, which means I wouldn't be able to see to the other side of this fence here, so I can't actually move forward and shoot him from there. Let's have a look. How far away are these sergeants? Now, I'd need to be against the wall. Or if I can this way. Yes, I'm going to do that. I am going to go this way for 3 inches. So my guys are moving in here. And I'm going to have them do a move and shoot. So let's see what I can see. Now you have to shoot at the nearest enemy that's within your line of sight. I can't see these because they're over 2 obstacles. Actually I can, because this guy is now touching this wall. And as long as one person can see, the unit can. So I could see them, but I could only be able to shoot with one guy, because he's the only one with line of sight. So that would only give me 1 dice. That's not worth doing. So I still want to shoot here. But because they're not the nearest, I need a morale roll. So let's see what I get. That's cocked. That's right on over here. A 2. No, they've got to shoot at the nearest enemy, which is those, and I'm only going to get 1 dice because none of the others can see. 1 dice, and it's going to be a minimum of 1. He's not quite at the fence, so I would say that I would be removing 1 for being hindered, but it's going to be a minimum of 1. So I'm just shooting 1 dice. Here we go. A 3. I missed anyway. Here we go.
Oh dear.
So my archers are stumbling around in.
Never mind.
Well,
love it. Love it. There. Love it. Okay, these guys. They're going to move forward to the edge of the fence there. They're touching it. They're now definitely touching it. They're going to be firing at your guys.
And you're now in short range, I believe.
Oh, I would have hoped so.
That gets you an extra dice, Sal. Now I am against. No, I'm not against the wall. Only 1 guy is, and at least half of my guys need to be against the wall to count it as cover. But it is going to hinder you, though.
Yeah.
So you'd be up a dice, down a dice.
Up a dice, down a dice, back to 3 then. Two, mate.
2.
Yeah.
Okay.
1's a crit.
1's a crit. It's not going well for me at the moment. So my regular guys in padded armour, that would mean I would normally need a 6. Can any of my guys see the boss? They can, but they're not within command range. You see, that's where
you need you a baron.
If he was a baron, that would have worked. So, 2 dice. And 1 needs to be a 10. On 6s. No. I've lost 2. So it'd be nearest to nearest. I get pushed back directly away from you. 2 inches plus the inch. So that's 3 inches back. Takes me to here. Back where I started from. And I also get 2 on there. Losing 2 is also more than a quarter, which now means they will need a morale test to avoid being broken. And being regular, they will need a 4. Plus the 2, 6.
Nice
Yes.
one. Nice one.
Back to me. I think what I'm going to do is pass. So I'm using one of my passes this turn and sending it back to you.
Interesting. I'm going to spend one of these guys. They only got a movement of 4. Whoops.
You don't have to throw the table.
I know,
around.
I know. Bad temper. That's yours, isn't it?
Yeah. Not that it's doing me any good, but yeah, it's one of mine.
You can have one of mine if you want. And that's them spent for this turn. Green to signify that they've moved.
Right. My next action. I'm going to tuck this sergeant all on his lonesome nicely into some cover with a move, just to make sure that he's not going to get shot at.
Awesome.
And it's back to you.
Nice. Okay, these guys gonna burn another on themselves and move another 4 inches. They become weary.
Right, so I'm going to use my knights.
Yeah.
They are going to do a run, which is 12 inches. Has to be in a straight line. I have to see where they're going. And crossing an obstacle. This is one of the real clever rules I like in this game. Infantry to cross an obstacle that's up to 1 inch in height takes 2 off their movement. Cavalry, if you're on a horse, it's tally-ho, you get to jump over those fences and it's only 1 inch you lose. So I can move up to 11 inches, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to move them to here. That's them moving in a straight line. There we go. I am opening my flank a little to the archers, but pah! Up to you.
In that case, challenge accepted. We're going to fire our Castle Bowman.
You're not going to
Straight
do
in.
so well this time.
I am.
No. Range is in short. Only just in short, but it is in short.
I'm within 12 inches of my dude.
Yeah, it's not the unit, it has to be of the dude himself. So that's this man.
The
here,
blue
isn't
man.
it? Mr. Blue. Ooh.
You're going to be mealy mouthed?
Ooh, yes, definitely.
You're going to be mealy mouthed?
I'm going to be merely mad. That's
Okay.
12 and a bit.
Okay. So, veteran crossbowmen.
Archers, aren't they?
Sorry, veteran bowmen, yeah. 5s. Yeah, you might have been right there, Mark.
Pah!
1.
1.
But 1's not good enough.
No, 1 won't even scratch the surface of my bardings.
It will, but it doesn't do much. Over to you, buddy.
Well, so in that case, I'm going to go for the charge. I'm going to get in there just to prove something.
I'm going to go defensive.
Yeah, because you've got an action left. So we're into the first combat of the game. Now normally you'd be rolling to see how far you can charge in. It's your normal movement, which is 6 plus a die 6, unless you're already within that 6 inches, so you don't get to roll the extra bit. The extra dice that you would add on to see if you reach can be very useful, but it's a double-edged sword. If you roll a 6, it gives you an extra attack dice, and if you roll a 1, you lose an attack dice. But I don't get to roll it because I'm within 6 inches anyway. So what happens is you draw line of sight. There's nothing in the way, so my guys can easily get in here, and it's basically anything in contact or up to an inch away from a soldier that's in base to base. So all of my guys are going to hit. Being on war horses, you don't get 1 attack dice, you get 2 for each guy. So that gives me 8 dice. Now because I've got a commander in there, I'm going to use different coloured dice. So I've got 6 on the white, that's the normal guys, and I'm feeling lucky on the yellow. So let's just stop and check the numbers a second. So in the book I've got a mounted lord and some knights. So the mounted lord, he's regular, he needs a 4 to hit, and my mounted knights need a 5 to hit. They are weary, because it's the second thing that they've done. Plus they run anyway, that makes you weary. So instead of 4s and 5s, I need 5s and 6s. So here we go. The tension, the tension. So I need 5s on, 6s on
Sixes on those.
On that.
And 5s on the other.
So that's 4. Now you are defensive, so that will add a couple onto your armour, but you are weary.
Okay.
So that will increase.
So
that.
my shield is normally 5, my defence is normally 5.
That
so
takes it to 3s.
3.
But back to 4s because you're weary.
Okay. So here we go. Oh dear. So 2 have failed. However, they're equipped with shields.
Medium or large?
Medium. So
That's
8s. So another save.
So you're only losing 1.
I'm only using 1, which is pretty good.
That's not too bad.
So we've got to take it from nearest to nearest.
Yep.
This guy gets it.
And then you get pushed back an inch plus an inch. Directly away from me, so that's that way, mate.
An inch plus an inch.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then, if you remember, I've got something called overcharge,
Yeah.
which means I come out of the back of you. I did 1 casualty.
2. No, 1, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, 1 casualty plus a die 6. So 2 inches. I come out 2 inches out of the back of you. I'm an inch away from that fence. It's basically going to mean I'm going to hit this unit. And you can overcharge from one unit into another. So 1 inch and 1 inch to hit the fence really and try and climb over that. I'm fairly sure. I'm sure Andy might. I think you just make a bit of room, really, I think is what they say. So I think we'll just shuffle you out a little bit so I can get in here. I would say that you count as defended there because you're behind that barricade. And we do it all over again.
On you go.
On I go. So then that's 2, 4, 6 and 2 yellows. I need exactly the same numbers that I did before.
Okay.
So that's
5's on the yellow, 6 on the
5's on the yellow, 6 is on the white. Ooh, I'd say that's good. You gonna let me have it?
Well,
I'll roll it again.
can only get worse.
So there we go. So I hit with him twice on his 5s. I've hit here. Ooh, that
All
looks
of them, Mark.
that's all of them,
All of
including a 10.
Including the 10.
So somehow you need to save 8 of these.
8 dice.
8 chances, and one of them has to be a crit.
No crits.
So you put the highest against the 10.
So the highest is probably going to be that 9,
Yeah,
but it still goes through.
yeah.
Okay, and then crossbow men who happen to be
Unarmoured is probably
unarmoured.
7,
It's probably 7.
but you are behind a fence.
So I'm back up to 5s. Okay. So that's not a 5. That's not a 5. That's not a 5. That's not a 5. That's not a 5.
I think they're dead.
I think they're dead, mate.
Right.
Now, when a unit dies, a point goes on there.
Yeah. The moment you lose a unit, your commander receives a morale dice on it of 1. There's also a rule in there for losing a unit outright. So not only does this commander here receive a number on his pip dice, because he has seen a unit get completely destroyed within 6 inches, he has to make a morale test himself. It's going to be pretty easy. He can discount the pip because of his priest, and he's probably rolling on a 3 or a 4, I would think. That looks a bit cocked to me. There we go. Oh, I think you knocked it the wrong way. Is that a fail?
I need a 3.
So he's just about made it. Oh yeah, because you're
A baroni.
A baroni.
Aren't you wary? Sorry, guys.
Yes, he's weary, isn't
You're
he?
wary, my friend.
Oh, so that's a fail.
It was cocked.
Yeah, he's made it now.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you want the game to finish, because he's my only commander.
Okay. But I've just done 3 casualties. I need to come out of the back of that unit. Ooh, so that's 3 plus the 5 makes 8. Crossing the barrier makes it 7. And crossing another barrier
Makes it 6.
makes it 6. So I
Just end up
think...
the other side of the barrier.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to end up corralled within here. Like this. You can only go through 2 units. You're going to come out the back and into one other unit. You can't keep going, unfortunately. But it does mean I'll put one of these little purple things on me. I need to rein in at the start of my next go.
You need to move all their counters onto them as well.
Yeah, they do have a lot of counters.
Yeah, they do.
So they are weary. They've spent all their commandy things, they've been fighting and stuff like that. But they're the ones that make a difference.
That was brutal.
Very brutal.
Very brutal.
Very brutal.
Back to you, Mr. Jones.
Cheers. Thanks for that.
They are tanks, aren't they? They really are.
Yeah, 6-inch move on horses.
I see
7.
what he's doing. He's creeping up.
7 actually,
Yeah.
on those. Thank you.
Well, in that case, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to move my monks forward to try and make sure that you don't go running onto this objective. So my monks they have a movement of 6, they're not wearing any armour or anything. They're going to come forward to here. They're going to sit on this objective. Like this. There we go. Whilst being in a nice defensive position. You wouldn't attack poor defenceless men of the cloth, would you?
Well, I can't because they've spent all their actions.
There we go.
Normally I put a commander, a second commander in that, but
The trouble with 500
points is just there's just no room. So I've still got the billmen, and I think what I'm going to do there is spread them around this objective just to make it a little bit harder for you. And that's them. They have moved. I think I'm all done, buddy.
I think I am too.
Cool.
So we have a nice housekeeping bit at the end.
Yeah.
So
That can come off.
that can come off. This can come off and that goes down by 1. This can come off and that goes down by 1. And over here, the weary and the move comes off, but I'll leave this on to remind me I need to rein in.
Okay. So this one, he's weary. So I've got to take a morale there.
Yes, yep. Yeah. So that allows you to remove that.
Remove
and
it,
wear
remove it, and the rest goes.
I think that's it for turn 2. Turn 3. Ooh. Now, do I try and keep initiative? Nah. What, you going to get, Mr. Jones? A 1.
1.
A 10. The initiative is with the declares. Right. What am I going to do?
You've got to do something. That's a compulsory move.
It's not a compulsory move. It's a compulsory action when I do them, but I don't have to do them
Do you
first. No. Things like broken and shocked troops, you have to do those first. But you're right, when I decide to do something with these, I have to rein in first. I don't think I'm going to do that, though. I don't think I'm going to do that. Not first, anyway. I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to move my archers 3 inches this way.
It's a healthy 3 inches, Omar.
Was it? No, nudge him back a little bit. And I'm going to shoot at the boss.
Still hindered.
I'm still hindered, and I don't need to roll because it's the nearest
Yeah, sure.
in sight. I'm not within. See, if he was the Baron, I would have an extra dice, but he's not. So 9 inches only takes me to there. So I don't get the extra dice, and now I'm only on 5 because you killed 2 of my guys. 5 dice, short range, easily within 10.
I'm probably going to spend one of these yellow tokens to go defensive there, Mark, if that's all right.
Yeah. So I need 7s. You do realise I'm probably going to get 2 10s in this.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Such is life, mate.
Oh!
There we are. There's the 2 10s.
There's the 2 10s.
Burn the witch.
As if by magic.
Burn the witch.
So 3. 2 10s.
Yeah, that's not easily savable. So I can't use my shield roll against the 10s. So that disappears. That disappears.
And you
2
can't-
dead.
And you can't use
I
your
can't
shield against
shield
the 1.
on a 1. So that's 3 dead, Mark.
That's 3 dead.
And that's game.
That's game. Brutal. It's these magic dice.
Yeah, yeah. Especially microwave magic dice. Well then.
Yeah, so to recap, if you lose your boss, which this poor man just has, because he's lost his 3 there, unless you've got a backup commander, and even then he would need a morale test to take over. If you lose your boss, that's game over. That's a very accurate thing to period. His troops are only there because he's there. If he's dead, they're all going back home. So yeah,
There we are.
managed to stay away from those brutal sergeants. That was a very quick game. We only got to turn 3, which, you know, those things happen in this game. The size of forces for this, I think, are a very good way to show you how to play, but also if you buy starter sets, this is what you basically get, a 500 pointer. And my force, it's not one of the starter sets, but it's pretty close. So if you went on the Futsal website and you bought a 500 point basic starter army, you'd end up with that and the rule book for not that much money. So I'm not going to say how much, because it depends whether you're watching this fresh or in 20 years time. But it's worth having a look. Thanks guys. Any questions, or if you see we got anything wrong, or if you want to commiserate Ian's poor dice, just drop us a line. And thanks to Bart, who's been waving the camera at us and adding in the occasion you got that wrong. Merry Christmas guys from Cardiff. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys.